Hello, everybody, and welcome to this new WBC Talks. This time we're going to talk about supervising. But let me first introduce Xochitl Lagarda. She's the director of the WBC University. Xochitl, how are you?
Well, today, as every Thursday, I must say I'm so happy, Victor. So happy to have this space where we can share with the highest level of experts of the world. And today, I'm so delightful to have you here with us, Jill. Jill is the director, global director of WBC Cares. Malte, welcome from Germany. He's the chairman of the Women's Committee and so many other things besides supervising. Oksana, well, she's a board member and a great leader woman in all the supervising area. I must say that Oksana, we've learned so much from you and your experience in the getting ready the supervising course that we have here at WBC University. And of course, Bob Jalen, I just want to share once again, Bob, every time we have you here, that you were my first teacher assigned here at WBC University. So I'm so happy to have you, all of you guys here and share this awesome morning or night or evening or good night everywhere in the world. Thank you so much and welcome.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a panel that from all around the world. So, Jill, how you doing? Your microphone is off.
And I want to ask Jill, usually Christian Mansour does this, but I will ask Jill to share the monthly word as president of WBC Cares, okay? And do the beginning reflection we do every week. Jill, please.
So this year, every month we celebrate a different cause, and this month it's neurodiversity. So we try to align our word of the month with whatever it is that we're celebrating. So our word this month was humanity, which refers to all of us. It refers to us, every culture, every race, every religion, very reflective of the WBC. And it also refers to the level of compassion and kindness and caring. So it seemed like the right word to use in celebrating neurodiversity, because we're all different, we all have a different voice, and together we make a beautiful harmony. So that's our word of the month, humanity.
Beautiful word, and so much to reflect on it. Thank you, Jill. Victor, please.
Thank you. Jill, now that you're there, how is New York?
Very noisy, which is why I keep switching off my microphone. But it's spring, it's beautiful. People are coming out of their apartments and mixing it up on the street. It's really lovely here. Thank you, Victor.
Oksana Semenicina, how are you?
I'm good, thank you very much.
Where are you now?
For the moment, I'm in Germany, just arrived to Germany.
Oh, be careful. There's a guy called Malte that is dangerous in that area. My brother Malte, how are you?
I'm very good, Victor. Thank you very much.
And maybe the oldest of all the panel, my dear Bob.
Ouch. I was good until that remark. I guess the truth hurts.
Oldest in boxing. That's what I meant.
All is well here, but you're right. The truth hurts.
Oh, it doesn't.
I do notice the resemblance between you and Malte, though. Your brother Malte.
One is tall and handsome, and the other one is Malte.
There you go.
Thank you, Victor.
Sure. Jill, would you please explain us what is the purpose of the WBC?
Purpose of the WBC?
Yes.
Well, I would say the purpose of the WBC has to do with creating a platform where boxing is fair and safe. And that's really the main purpose of it, which coincides with the purpose of a supervisor, which basically is to deal with the safety of the athlete and represent the organization with integrity.
It's really nice. the WBC does this through supervising and doing rankings and doing all of this stuff to be safe. And as Don Jose Suleiman taught us, it is for the sake of the fighter. So, Oksana, what is the purpose of a supervisor?
The purpose of supervisor, it's to follow the rules. It's one of the most important things to know them, to follow the rules. And where there are situations out of control of the rules, to follow the things which the common base. It's you should feel the situation and to understand if there is this situation is not written in the rules, you should follow the common sense in this case.
That is something of the hardest thing, Malte. Usually supervising is not that hard. I mean, you have a lot of things to do, but the problem is when something strange happens.
Very true. And actually, but supervising really differs from where you are and where you're doing it, because in many parts of the world, you have very strong commissions, like in the US, you have commissions who will do a lot of the work. In the UK, the British Boxing Board of Control will do a lot of the work, but then in other parts of the world, and especially in other parts of Europe, you will have a lot more work when you come and supervise a fight. I've been supervising events in countries where they really didn't have a commission until the moment we went there to with a title fight. So we basically had to make sure that the whole event went the way it should go, and we had to make sure that everything is in order for all the fighters. And of course, what we do when we supervise is we want to make sure, and that's what I tell fighters in the rules meeting, we are there so the fighters can do what they do best in the ring, and they can focus on what they do in the ring. I tell the fighters, you focus on your thing, and we make sure that everything goes according to the rules, and the trainers, the managers, everybody can just be themselves and be the best at what they do. And that's our job to make sure that they can do that, and that they know that the winner in the ring ultimately will be the winner on the scorecards.
And you have to deal with so many things, as you said, the commission, the fighters, the trainers, and even the TV producers, Bob. No, I know that experience too.
Absolutely. But let me preface this with one thing too, that everyone on this call, I'm sure, realizes, but being a supervisor is a privilege. It's not a right. You shouldn't expect anything. It is a privilege. And so you're representing the WBC. So you need to act in a certain manner. You need to conduct yourself in ways that, as Jill touched on earlier, you need to bring credit to the organization, while at the same time alleviating any difficulties for, as Malte said, the boxers, the referee, the judges. You need to work your best to make sure that all they have to do is be themselves and worry about being the referee, being the judge, et cetera, et cetera. You know, you've got to put up with TV producers such as you and I in past lives, who will ask things that, let's just say, may not be good for the fighters, may not be good for the officials, whoever the case may be. You have to be willing to stand your ground. And as Malte said, if it's not the best possible thing for the fighters, you have to push back. You know, we're all there to uphold the rights of the fighters, health and safety, everything. That's the basic tenet. And whatever it takes to do to uphold that, that's what you need to take care of. Whether it be TV producers, whether it be, zealous other officials, zealous other organizations, whatever the case may be, you need to stand firm.
It is many times. You always talk about the referees during the fight, the judges at the end of the fight, and they're so many times so visible, even when they try to be invisible. But the supervisor usually is invisible, but he's the team captain. How does it work? What is the duties of a supervisor, Jill?
There are so many duties. I mean, we should really split this up. I mean, the duties really start before the fight. Generally, when the health and safety requirements come out to the different camps, everything from blood tests to monitoring the weight, the supervisor of that fight is usually included. And sometimes, if it's like Malti, who's the head of a committee, you might be even involved in approving the fight. So it really starts once the fight is approved, you start getting the paperwork. And then when you get there either 2 or 3 days before, if you're involved in the actual press conference, then you'd be at the press conference and ready to speak. And then if not, then you can arrive the night before the weigh-in. Now, in the United States, generally they have 2 weigh-ins now. Most of them have an early weigh-in, which is the official weigh-in. And that's usually 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. And then they have what they call a ceremonial weigh-in, which is later in the day, which is usually for the TV cameras or the streaming platforms. And then there are all the complexities of the weigh-in. Oksana, Malti, Bob, does somebody want to take it over from there?
Yeah, why not? I
Go
mean,
ahead.
you have you started with the weigh-in actually leading up to the fight. It's not only making sure that all the procedures are followed by the fighters, but of course you also have to take care. Victor, you said you're the team captain, so you have to take care of your team. So you got to make sure that all the appointed officials know that they are appointed, know when they have to be where, that all the travel is arranged, that accommodation is arranged, that transfer and shuttle is arranged for everybody. Just make sure that you communicate with all the officials assigned to the fight, and that you know when they are at the site. What we want to do, we definitely want to have them there, as Jill said, the night before the weigh-in. We want to have them present at the weigh-in, and then of course at the rules meeting, which is following the weigh-in. And Bob, you can take over from there if you want.
And along with that, you need to ask if there's any issues with any of the officials. Vic, you asked earlier if there's any oddities that we've encountered. I've come across officials who are basically superstitious. They don't want the pink cards or they don't want the yellow card, whatever the case may be. If you can find, little things like that ahead of time, it's an idiosyncrasy, but it's helpful to know that to keep everything smooth as you go along. You need, as Malti said,
Daniel Olamba, would you please turn your microphone off? But Bob, I will go even before that. When you're assigned and you know your team, and you have to deal with traveling, with visas, with everything. I mean, that is a lot of work to make sure that all the team is there on time.
Absolutely, but as you said earlier, it's a lot of work, but what's a good way to put it? It's not difficult. You just have to be squared away. The key thing for a supervisor is to really have a checklist of things that have to be done and just tick them off one by one by one. And as Malte said, is that everyone's been saying, there's certain functions that need to be taken care of. Pre-fight, pre-event, once you hit the ground at the event, before the weigh-in, at the weigh-in, post weigh-in. You should have a little checklist as on the screen. Just check it off one by one as you go along. And the more often you do it, the easier it does become. It may not be less work, but it becomes more rote. You'll understand right away, okay, I'm here. I have to X, Y, Z. Call these people, get the credentials, take care of travel. It becomes almost automatic.
I just wanted to add one thing to that, which is that, again, different countries and different states are different. In some places, they don't want the officials at anything other than the fight. They feel that it adds judgment to them viewing the weigh-in or anything that might go on at the weigh-in. Whereas in some states or countries, they might actually want the referee to read the rules. So again, as I think Malti said earlier, it depends on where you're supervising to determine, sorry for that, that determines some of the things that you do in terms of our officials.
Yeah.
And
that's what they do. I'm sorry.
Sometimes it is even different and harder. Oksana can tell us a lot of stories about that. In different countries, you are not. It is not the same to be a man supervisor and a woman supervisor.
Actually, I didn't find a big difference because you're a human being and you're following all the procedures. And as Bob mentioned, you have just to follow everything what the supervisor has to do, and as much possible, please do it in advance, because when you decide that this or that I can do later, at the end you will have a huge amount of things which you didn't check. And definitely being a woman at the weigh-in when the boxers don't make the weight and they have to take
strip down.
Yes.
Why did you get excited about that?
So I rely on my colleagues from the local commission, and they did perfectly their job. So I didn't have any issues with this.
And sometimes it is even also hard when you think about traveling, because everybody thinks about traveling as a vacation, but sometimes you have to go and fly 25 hours and get ready next morning. How hard is that, Malte?
Well, I mean, luckily now being the Women's Championship chairman, I can sort of pick and choose which supervising jobs I take and which I don't. But I remember the time when I believe it's more than 10 years ago. I supervised a fight in Tokyo, which of course is a great honor. As Bob said, I mean, supervising and representing the WBC around the world is a great honor, but it can also be, of course, stressful if you fly halfway around the world. And that fight specifically, I flew to Tokyo, supervised a fight in Tokyo, flew back, and then I think 2 days later, I flew to the convention in China. So it was my head was all crazy and going around in time zones. I didn't really know where I was. But the most important thing is to make sure that you get adjusted, that you get the sleep that you need, so you can be focused and can be at your best. And of course, if you travel long ways, then make sure that you are there in advance, that you have some more time to adjust. You know, if I do a fight, I'm based in Hamburg in Germany. If I do a fight in Copenhagen, it may work out to go the day of the weigh-in because I just drive for 2 hours and then I'm there. But obviously, if I fly to Tokyo, I have to be there way in advance, so I can get adjusted and make sure that I can follow all the procedures accordingly. And yeah, I mean, that's part of the job, you know, getting adjusted. The good thing is, as we communicate with everybody way in advance, we communicate with the commission, we communicate with the promoters, so we can make sure that everything when we are on site is going according to plans. Of course, then you have to react and you have to respond, and you got to be in the shape to do that. So make sure that you get enough sleep and then get adjusted to different time zones. Of course, respect the culture wherever you are. And it's always good to know where you're going, to know specific rules. So what I usually do when I go to places where I haven't been, I talk to people that I know that have worked there, or I talk to the commission, I talk to our friends all around the world. That's the beauty about the WBC. We have a big family from all over the world, so we really can talk to people way in advance if we go to places where we haven't been. That helps.
Yeah, and as Malte said, we need to understand what rules and regulations may be different, some variation of a WBC rule in case something happens that there needs to be some mediation between the two. Especially we've probably all come across where one guy doesn't want to use the gloves that are brought, and what gloves are available, what will the local commission allow, that type of thing. So supervisors need to be very aware of where there could be problems with the local commission, and get those problems taken care of early. You don't want to do that at night of a fight.
I was just to add to that, things like open scoring or instant replay can vary from state to state, country to country, and you have to be aware of that. But at least in the United States, we always say the commission is king. We can't overturn anything the commission does. We can only remove the sanction if it's against our rules. But the commission invariably makes the choices for that particular fight about things like that.
Yeah.
Usually you get your assignation from Esteban, who is here. Esteban,
Hey,
so good to have you here.
And he's a damn good supervisor.
And a good singer.
Sorry.
Good singer too.
Excellent singer.
It was not that good in the office. That's why we sent it to Minnesota, but he's a good supervisor, definitely. It's good to have you here. And we have people from all around the world. Frank Garza, it's so good to have you here. Let me see who else is here. Samantha Bullner at 3 a.m. in Australia. We have Jose Farro that is always with us. Thank you very much for being here with us. How important would be, and who wants to answer this, Oksana maybe, to be the shield between your judges and referee? How much can they be exposed to the media, to the promoters, and what is the function in this case of the supervisor? He has to be the connection. As Jill said many times, the ring officials are not allowed to be in the weigh-in or different other events.
When I am supervisor of the fight, I ask my ring officials just to connect the promoter for the travel details, for the visas, for the tickets, and that's all. When they arrive at the place, they already know the place where is going to be the hotel. As for the travel to the venue, I always get in contact with the promoter. So I'm trying to limit the connection with the promoter as much as possible. And usually experienced promoters, they already don't get in touch with the ring officials because they know that experienced ring officials are not going to be influenced by the promoters. Usually it happens at the very beginning of the career, of the promoters to try to influence somehow. But nevertheless, ring officials stay. They have the distance with the promoters, and we have just meetings during the press conference, also during the weigh-in in Europe. And that's all.
Well, what is the deal with, of course, many promoters wants to invite you dinner, or what is the deal with this, Jill? I will go with you, Francis. Give me 1 second.
It varies from country to country. We don't usually encourage contact with the promoters for the reasons Oksana has mentioned, but in some countries, particularly in Europe, it is standard to do an officials dinner with everybody. And again, we hope we're all adults. I can't hardly think of a case where anyone was accused of being influenced by the promoter, but in some places it would be frowned upon to fraternize too much with the promoter before the fight or with the fighters. I mean, not to take pictures with them or anything like that would not be considered to be in good form, and not to post anything in reference to the fight if you're an official. We try to stay as completely neutral as possible.
Stay away from the press.
Yep. Stay away from the press.
It's part of the code of ethics of ring official supervisors. I remember once that we were sharing a talk like this with maybe some of you included in that discussion, that sometimes we spoke before about cultures, different parts of the world, different commissions. Not everybody welcomes an external supervisor. How does the WBC works with this? So you guys or all the WBC team, when you get to a country, you make like, I don't know the word, but you make your position to be respected, and these are the WBC rules, and we need this seat on the table, we need to do this, these are our functions. How do you manage that? I remember a few years back, it wasn't so easy. Maybe that's been in evolution, but how do you manage that?
Well, I think one of the keys is always to communicate and to communicate way ahead. So you don't want to run into problems when you are there at the event. You don't want to run into problems when you are on site. So as a supervisor, make sure that if there are any problems or issues, you know of them way ahead of time, so you can address them ahead of time. And of course, you can run into issues and problems, and some people, for some reason, disrespecting you. Important for us is, as Bob mentioned earlier, we represent the WBC, we represent the sport of boxing, so we always conduct ourselves in the most professional way. And whatever we face, whatever obstacles we face, we always try to reply with a smile and let people know that we are there to help them. We are there to support them. We're there to help the sport of boxing, the sport we all love. And I think that's the most important things, to always make sure that everybody understands we are not there to hurt anybody. We're not there to just be present on cameras and show our face on pictures. We are there for the sport, for the fighters. And Victor mentioned it earlier. Supervisors are invisible. I would say good supervisors are invisible. If there's, that's really what shows that we've done a good job. If people have no reason to in any way complain about what happened, or if there's no big issues we have to address, then we made sure way ahead of time that everything went well and went smoothly. So the more, the better work we do, the less visible we are, I would say.
Yeah, and we all have to understand that we're basically on their turf. So we do have to show the respect and act with dignity, realizing that, and we're there to accommodate. We can put our foot down and be firm with things, but we also have to be adaptable and malleable, realizing that we're not there to dictate terms to them per se. Because then all you're doing, as you're saying, is you're making an enemy as opposed to making an ally.
Yes, and you need everybody at the place or the function to be your ally, because you're taking control or being ahead of so many things, because you have the WBC brand on your shoulder. So you need to be everywhere, very respectful of culture and all the local rules and everything. So I know I've been learning from you guys all the work you do, and I think this WBC talk is very important to give the respect, to share with the world the respect, and let everybody knows what a WBC supervisor does, because it's a lot of, you guys do so much, and we don't speak so often about the job you do. Okay, so that's why I asked this.
So, Jay, one thing I just want to add, when I said we should be invisible, one of our jobs is also to make sure the WBC is visible. So we cannot mix that up, when I'm invisible, but I always want, of course, I want people to understand this is a WBC World Championship, and people have to, if people see that, and if they see the green and gold belt, if they see what it's all about, they know, oh, this fight has a meaning, this fight has a value. So of course, while we stay invisible, we want the WBC to be visible. So if I go to a fight and it's a title defense, I make sure that that the fighter and the fighter's camp is bringing the belt to the weigh-in, that the belt is presented properly, because it just shows the public that this is a meaningful fight. So what I said, I myself want to be invisible. WBC should be visible, and that's also part of our duty, just to make people understand that what the value of the fight really is.
Thank you so much for that.
You just touched something really important, Malte. That is, as we're showing here, everything that a ring official, not just the supervisor, but the judges and the referees, has to do in a fight. There's a lot, and the WBC and President Jose Sulaiman and Mauricio Sulaiman now loves to do this, so you know, and you can review before you have to any assignment. But there are things like what should happen with the belt. The champions should get there with the belt. When you get the belt, when you go down, would you please explain that?
Well, I can. I mean, what we do is, when we're talking about the event itself and the fight itself, of course, the champion enters with their belt. They are the champion, so we want people to see and to understand this is the champion walking in with their belt. And then when I leave the ring, I ask the team to hand over the belt to me, because the champion has to win it back in the ring. I mean, they step into that ring, they defend their belt, but they have to win it back. So I'm gonna take over the belt, have it by my side at the supervisor table, and after the fight, when we go to the scorecards or we have a KO win, then I re-enter the ring and hand over the belt to the winner, of course. But please add if you have something to add. Sorry.
Just remember to get it back, because I had a situation in one of my first fights where the new winner took off with Jackie Nava's belt and went disco dancing in Tijuana. So I didn't get that belt back till 4 a.m, and I was awake every one of those moments praying that she'd come back with the belt, and that person will remain nameless. So there are all of these little nuances that you don't learn until you actually do fight. You can't really teach someone to be a supervisor. The best thing to do is to know the rules and then shadow someone who is experienced, and there'll always be something that'll come up. The length of the beard, a tassel on a shoe, a dent in a glove, always something that will come up to make the fight more interesting and more challenging. So it's good to first follow people around and know that eventually it will work out, and there are people you can call if you confront a problem.
Yeah. Just use a lot of common sense.
A lot of common sense. And always be non-biased.
And there are some times when even common sense is put in. You have to prove your common sense, and that is the reason of the supervisor. Like I'm not sure if Gilbert got the videos that I asked him, but do you remember that in Caesar Palace, the fan man?
Oh yeah, I was there.
And a supervisor has to decide what to do. And like the Golota thing in Madison Square Garden, that it was a battle between everybody, like 100 people fighting. So how does a supervisor prepares himself? I mean, a referee can watch fights and get in different situations and think. The judge can go round by round. So how do you get prepared, Oksana?
It's quite difficult to be prepared for this. You have to be calm. You have to be quiet, because taking such important decisions quite difficult. But you have to act very quickly, not to show people that you don't know what exactly to do.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely such situations happens. So first of all, as I mentioned, it should be the rules and common sense. And all this comes also with experience. More experienced you become, more easier you can handle such situations.
Do you remember this? Bernard Hopkins against Joe Smith, and then he goes out, and everybody wants to help him, but there are rules that you have to follow. And Of course, the referee is there, but the supervisor is supervising too. These are the kind of actions that you just get there and have to do something.
But exactly as Oksana says, you can't prepare for these, but you have to act firmly. You have to act, decisively, but you have to remain calm, because if you're calm, the people around you will hopefully act the same way. If you're panicking, the situation won't get resolved.
Absolutely. And one thing. Oh, Jill, please go ahead.
No, go ahead. Please go ahead.
I mean, what Bob says is absolutely correct. Be calm, be decisive, but also, of course, there's small things that you can do when you are ringside. Make sure you know where the important people are to talk to from the promoter, where you have, make sure you have contact with the doctor, with the commission, with security, so you know who to address if something comes up and something happens. Just make sure, when you're sitting by the ring, okay, he's there, she's there, and these are the people I would address, I would talk to. In case you don't see them, make sure you have their phone numbers. You could call somebody if you need them. So yeah, just be aware, and of course you have to also focus on the fight, because what we do, and I really I think it's quite important. On our supervisors' master score sheets, we also have the backside where we score the fights, and I think it's important for us to also do that, so we can compare it to the scores of the judges, and then take notes if there's any specific things. So you have to be focused on the fight, but also you have to have your eyes basically everywhere to make sure that you can react and respond if something happens.
Yeah. And I think that is exactly the issue.
You have it the wrong way. It went over in between rounds and just real quick said, "Let me see your score." He had reversed the fighters.
Happens.
Wow.
And you have to be aware of that. And that's where you have to insinuate yourself into a situation where it may not be the most comfortable. And at times it could be, you try not to embarrass an official, but you're trying to prevent the long-term damage of what could occur.
So we didn't mention the one thing that is the bane of every supervisor, which is the paperwork, the paperwork, the paperwork.
Plenty of that. Yep.
When we were integrating a small guide, they comment that, for example, a supervisor, some of them, mostly here in I don't know, Latin America, they're looking at their WhatsApp phone, or they're distracted. And they asked me to put into the rules that they cannot be distracted by their phone, because they have to be always attentive, and also to don't be eating at the table or something like that. Those small things, do you consider relevant? Does a phone get you distracted? Being eating, I don't know. Maybe you can share a little bit about it.
This is a bad visual. You don't want to give the impression that you're not paying 100% attention. As we said, it is a privilege to be there. You are now devoted 100% of your time to doing the right thing. And the right thing is to pay attention at all times. No fun, judges can't have it, referee can't have it, supervisor can't have it. No phone, no food. Once you're on site for a single purpose.
Yeah. You have to be focused, be professional, and be aware that even though you are trying to be invisible, eyes and focus are on you. Of course, people are looking at what you're doing all the time. You gotta know that, and you don't have to act special because of that. Just be focused, be professional.
And many times it is not easy, because you're a friend of Canelo, and then you're in the main fight of everybody's wants to be there, and you're 2 feet away from Canelo, and he knows you. He say hello, but you have to keep your professional distance.
Do we want to talk a little bit about the paperwork?
Sure.
So actually the person, Frank, you do extremely good paperwork, as does Esteban. I mean, you embarrass me how detailed your paperwork is, but we always do insurance. We do fight agreements. We do disclosures I don't know if disclosures are done everywhere, but they're definitely done in the United States. What else do we do with the paperwork? Disclosures. Go ahead,
Full
Malte.
reports, full reports of the
reports.
fight,
Yeah.
of course, including if there's any injuries that we note and take down. Of course, you mentioned the insurance forms. We have now the weight monitoring program. So
Drug
yeah,
testing.
What, Bob? I didn't.
Drug testing.
Drug testing. Absolutely.
Excuse me.
And I would like to know, with all the supervisors here, about after the fight. Do you all go into the dressing rooms after the fight to visit both fighters?
Absolutely.
Yes, definitely. Check on the fighters. Check if especially after very exhausting fights, are they okay? Do they need anything? And of course, visit both corners after the fights.
And the one question I would love to hear everybody respond to, I'm sorry, Victor, but I really need to hear this. When somebody loses, a lot of time they'll look at the supervisor and say, you thought I won, didn't you? What do you actually say to the fighter who is devastated that they lost that night when you see them in the dressing room? What do you say to those fighters?
But you put up a great fight. You take a look at it and you make up the mind for yourself. You make up your mind for yourself. But I thought you fought a great fight.
Oksana, what would you say?
I'm telling them the truth, but in a very polite manner. So if it was he was losing, but if there was something good, what the fighter did. So I'm telling him that you did a very good fight. It was one of your best fights. If I already know how were his previous fights. So I'm trying to. I'm telling him the truth. I'm not trying to tell that, no, you were winning. But nevertheless, he has to get support from us and not to be so much upset. I'm telling that maybe you will look again at your fight and you will review something in your future fights and you will change your tactics, especially when women fights happen. So more drama. I saw more drama in the dressing rooms. Yes, because they're more emotional. And if really there was some kind of problem, so I'm telling them, if you're really after watching the fight, you're not agree with me, you can write. You don't agree with the judges, you can write to the WBC office and tell what do you think about the fight.
Malte?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I think Bob and Oksana said perfectly. Be positive. Emphasize the positive things, but I also think it's important to be aware. Don't give them something or don't tell them something which they could use against you at a later point. So don't tell them, listen, you won on my card, but forget about these judges. This is something which you definitely shouldn't do. Don't comment on the judges. Don't comment on the referee. Don't give them anything that could be used at a later point. Stay positive. Stay professional at that time, and give them love. Tell them that you appreciate what they did in the ring, and ask them if they need anything. Basically, that's what I always do. If there's anything we can do to help or support them at that moment or at a later point.
Yeah. Often false hope is worse than no hope.
It's a tough moment for everyone.
But also have to be human, like the word of the man, humanity. You need
compassion and kindness.
Compassion and kindness, always. Yes. Well, Victor, I don't know What else? There's so much. I think this talk has to have a second part, third part. I just want to let everybody know that Mauricio, our president, asked Bob, Robert Leonard, myself, and Pepe to put together a whole project, educational project for Ring Supervisor, which, of course, our experts here today are going to be part of it, but we're working on it. So maybe we will have it ready soon and we'll be able to present with you guys on board. I don't know. If you're ready, and final words, Victor, can you coordinate that, please?
And I think we should open at some point our emails and receive different issues that might happen when you're supervising, depending on the country or the commission, or different stories that are really some of them too hard to hear. But
you want me to share one story?
Please.
Sure.
Well, I won't mention the place. It was a country where we didn't have a very experienced commission. We didn't have a very experienced promoter. And when we came to the venue at the day of the fight, we checked the ring the day before. That's also something which we usually do. Check if the ring is set up properly. Check if it has the right size. I saw rings way too small, and but in this specific case, we came to the venue the day of the fight, and we realized that there was no bell. They just had no bell, and I asked them, "Oh, what are you going to do? How are you going to do this fight without a bell?" And then one of the guys standing there said, "Oh, he showed in his jacket he had a gun. And he said, I can shoot in the air 3 times." And then no, we don't do that. So we just try to find a bell. Luckily, we found one in the end. But I also saw fights where when they didn't have a bell, they went to the catering and took like a big plate and then always slammed against the plate when the round was over. But yeah, so things like this can happen, and I recommend not to use the shooting in the air for the end of the round. It's not the best thing we can do.
How many of us here have had the old post-fight drug testing where the fighter couldn't go to the bathroom? You had to wait till 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. Finally, they went.
Oh,
Yeah, turning on every sink faucet you can.
Yep.
Inspiring.
well, Malte has a gun, so maybe he can use it.
Oh,
Well, I want to thank you, but of course, we need to do this again and get more stories like this. Thank you very much for being here. Jill, you want to comment anything?
no, it's just always a privilege to be here and to see so many friendly faces and people who are interested in advancing the sport and doing it the correct way. It's so important to the boxers and it's so important to the sport, especially with what's going on now. People don't always appreciate everything that's involved in having a safe fight, having a fight that's respected, and respecting each other and our boxers. It's a privilege. Thank you.
Oksana.
Yes, definitely. Being WBC supervisor is a great privilege, and becoming more professional, you get more important appointments and in more important countries, because stronger the local commission is, in my opinion, it's a more important appointment. So my recommendation for all future supervisors would be to stay professional, quiet, and follow everything what is happening during the venue.
I like that. Stay professional and quiet. I like that. Thank you, Oksana. Malte.
Well, I just hope that Bob stays quiet now, but no, Bob has the final words later on. Sorry, Bob. No, I don't have anything else to add. Thank you so much for allowing us to speak about what we do, what we love to do, and yeah, just keep doing the right things. And Bob, now you can finish the session.
All right, now since it's already beauty before age, I guess I am pulling up the rear, but I can honestly say, because I've done a lot of fights, and I've looked at obviously the other organizations, the WBC supervisors, especially those on this call, are far and away the best in the world. And I know we all get buried in paperwork and all the minutia, but what Oksana does, what Jill does, what Malte does is so important for the health of the game and the health of the fighters that it's worth all the little trials and tribulations everyone has to go through. And the manner in which the WBC conducts itself is a lot to do with the way the people on this call conduct themselves. You know, everyone should look at, as I said, the way Malte works, the way Oksana works, the way Jill works, and emulate what they do. And it would just the WBC will just continue to get stronger and stronger if the people that go out and represent it will do what the supervisors on this call do. If they ever want to learn, if they ever want to do it properly, and ever want to do it with dignity and respect, these are the people to take a look at and emulate.
Thank you, Bob. We love you too. And we learned everything we were doing from Bob. So thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
I think we all know that WBC is a family, but we have different roles. And as a supervisor, you have to be, I'm going to collect some of the words that you just said: passion, common sense, professional, but also enjoy your work and make boxing safer. Thank you very much to all of you for participating. Xochitl.
Yes, I wanted to thank again everybody. And Jill mentioned a word, and I've been speaking with Bob also about chatham. If you want to learn about this, you need experience, and the way to get it is by being with an expert. But also, of course, I need to make the advisement for WBC University. Join WBC University, get yourself prepared for ring officials, for supervising, and for so many other knowledge we have. The only way on getting better is joining these WBC talks, sharing knowledge with the best experts, and getting the certification. And every day and every time you will keep growing to be a better official, to be a better person. So thank you again, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Sochi. Thank you, Victor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good to see you. See you next time.
Bye, everybody. Have a great day, morning, night.
Bye-bye.
Samantha, go back to sleep.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good to see you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Victor.